Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket track the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, traitors that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land under the brave, and the home of the brave. Because we are the brave. Yes, we are the brave. We'll fight you in the name of the brave. We are the USAF. For those unaware, that flag is still there. It's your future to save. The land of the brave, the USAF. Oh, traitors that star-spangled banner, yeah, wave for the land of the brave, and the
Bring in, as promised, Academy Award-winning documentary filmmaker Michael Moore. Michael, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is Rachel Maddow. Good evening, Rachel.
Good evening, Keith.
There's been a spike in the desire to own guns in Connecticut. Statewide, over 90,000 guns have been authorized for sale. You know how I feel about it.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Good evening, my fellow Americans and patriots. It is Friday, November 1st. Don't forget to change your clocks back. We get an hour back. We get an hour back for those that who actually sleep in the morning. You get an extra hour. I'm a night owl. I'm a night owl. So as you guys are probably waking up, I am just getting to bed. So it really doesn't affect me. So once again, you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. I will guide you through the evening. of events tonight and conversations. You can join us on the web every Monday through Friday. You actually join us on the web 24/7, 365 days a year, unless, of course, the NSA and our beloved government decides to do a takedown order. But we have contingency for that as well. But join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com for all of the show information. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Get the call-in numbers for the show. They will be changing. We are going to be adding some more call-in numbers, some more 1-800 number. We're going to be putting a 1-800 number. Also, our Skype. You can always reach us on Skype when time allows, when we don't have guests. I do have to apologize. I know several of you have been trying to reach us, but with guests and stuff, we have to take care of them first. Got a lot of news. To cover today. For obvious, we're going to be talking about what happened at LAX, Los Angeles, the government spin. It's already going. And I'm going to say government because the media is part of the arm of the government, propaganda arm. So it's already coming out. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Common Core, Agenda 21 today. The death of the United States Air Force General Brown, mysterious death. Kind of tell you why that's kind of mysterious, what's going on there. Obama's friends, how they're getting prime contracts, even after they screwed up Obamacare. Same company. They're, I don't know about you. I'm building a couple $100,000 home, and I kind of put the drywall on the outside of the house and, put the roof wrong and do everything wrong. And then the contractor, go ahead. I'm going to hire you to fix it. We're going to talk about that. Also, more of the Agenda 21 topics tonight. We're going to talk about how Obama is of the belief that the UN Treaty trumps United States law. We also have guests. We have some callers on the line. Wayne will be joining us after the break. I don't want to say former. He is a U.S. Marine. There's no former about it. He is a U.S. Marine. And we'll talk about him and, his interesting stories. Got to hear this. These are heroes. These are heroes. Fellow patriots. So when we take a break, when we come back, we'll get Wayne on the line. We'll talk about some things with him. And then in the second hour, we actually have another guest that will be joining us, talking about some issues he's been having with Facebook and some other social media sites. So you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and podcast. Join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com.
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
We were told nothing could be done to enjoy these final moments together.
But in that moment, when all seemed lost,
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital gave us hope.
Because at this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care. We're changing the way the world treats childhood cancer by sharing our discoveries with doctors and scientists everywhere.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends.
I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and join St. Jude in finding cures and saving children.
Dad, it's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow. Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money, always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
This message brought to you by the American...
All right, let's get this show on the road. Let's get this show on the road. You know, we got to do it. For those that listen to us regularly, you'll know that we were running without any kind of radio ad servers. Well, they're in now, right? And so we're kind of working out the music and everything. I know that intro is a little bit longer than what we like. I can control the outro or whatever coming in, so we can cut that short and get right into the topic. So we're working. We're trying to work within our parameters that are given to us. But that's what it takes. You know, we want to take this mainstream. We are in a holding pattern with iHeartRadio. You know, for those that know, we actually got picked up by XM Music earlier this week, so you can listen to us on XM Music, any Windows 8 device. So we are starting to get out there. I mean, it's incredible. We got our numbers back, and I just want to say thank you to all of the listeners out there. We got our numbers back for the month of October, which is an official month, and we really weren't running the full month, and we have over 2,000 listeners to the show on average. That's what we're averaging. That's what that's what we came back from all of the different, between iPod, all of the different streams that our show is put out on. We have about 2,000 daily listeners. Now, our goal for the month of November is to get that to 5,000, right? That's our goal. At that point, we start reaching a little bit of critical mass. That means, we're getting out there. We are at 5,000 listeners a show, so you guys know we are a small market radio station at that point. A local radio station. When we start doing 14,000 to 20,000 a show, we are considered middle tier. And that's when they start taking notice. That's when, Cyrus and XM starts to take notice of us. iHeartRadio has already taken notice of us. So we're, hopefully we'll get the approvals here. But we can't do it without your help. We need you to, listen to the shows. We need you to comment. We need you to call in. We need you to participate. This show is actually an extension of what we do every day on Facebook, talking to patriots and people with our same common values. But we wanted to give you a voice. The premise of this show was not for me to sit up here for 2 to 3 hours, but I think I've demonstrated I can do that fairly well. No, the premise of this show, and I've always said this, we are the tracks, but your voice is the train. We will guide you to where we need to go. We will make sure you get into the station safely. But it is your train. And so the way you can support us is call in. Now, one of the things that we are doing is we are adding more call-in lines. We're going to start out with 12, and then we'll see where that goes. The other thing you can do is if you're a small business owner, and you don't even have to be a small business owner, one of the ways you can support us is buy an ad. They're $5, $6, and you get a banner on our website. So if you got a message, a business, or if you've got, alumni association you want to promote for $5, you'll get that ad for 30 days. And on top of that, you will get a 30-second to a 1-minute advertisement. Yesterday we got a little bit of criticism because of some of the ads. They were saying, well, that's PSA, that's kind of liberal stuff. Well, if you don't like it, we'll replace it. I'll be glad to replace it with your ad. So the best way to do that is go out to our website. You'll see advertise here. Just click on that, the location in which you want an ad. So, that's the other way you can support us. But the number one way, listen to us. Tell all your friends about us. Let them know that they do have a voice in the Patriot movement and everything. So with that, that's my shameless plug. You'll never hear about it the rest of the night. We'll get on with the show. I just want to introduce our next guest. Wayne, is a hero. Anybody that puts on this country's uniform is a hero in my eyes. My heroes are not athletes, are not movie stars, TV stars, musicians. The people that I look up every day are those that put on this great country's uniform and defend us and defend our freedoms. Now, granted, a lot of that's changing. We talk about that on the show. But the reality of it is that we need to still show honor and respect for those that have fought for our freedom. So let me give you a little bit of background on Wayne. And then I'll let him actually tell you the nitty-gritty details. Wayne is not a former. You're never a former Marine. I've been schooled on that a couple times. Wayne is a Marine of the 2nd Recon Battalion. For you guys that don't know what the 2nd Recon Battalion is, these are the reconnaissance and surveillance guys of the Marine Corps. Yeah. They're trained in close quarter combat. They go to different schools to learn sniper schools. They go to jump school, free fall schools, combat dive schools, Ranger Scouts, and other schools. So these are, in the Marine Corps, and I'm going to because what I know about the Marine Corps is what my friends tell me, and they really don't tell me a whole lot. That's one thing I learned about Marines is that they don't really discuss anything with non-Marines. They might joke around with you, but they really don't discuss it. So, hey, Wayne, how are you, buddy? Wayne, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Yeah,
How are you, Jeff?
I'm doing well. Don't call me sir. Please, I have not earned that title.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Instructions pounded into my head. Everybody is sir.
I know. I get the same thing, sir and ma'am, and they're like, stop doing that. For me, it's just my Southern upbringing. Believe it or not. Well, my father was military, but he was Air Force. But no, we just grew up with it because of the South. That's how you begin your sentences, and that's how you ended them, with sir and ma'am and stuff.
Me too.
Yeah. So wait, I didn't want to tell. You served in the 2nd Battalion when? Can you hear?
Sorry.
When did you serve in the Marine Corps?
71 to 76.
71 to 76. So you were in the Corps right as it was getting kind of froggy over there, and I think we talked about it through chat and stuff. Now you were a sniper, correct?
Yes, sir. I was. I was taught by my mentor, that Carlos Hathcock.
Charles. Now he was I've read. Actually, I just got to say, it must be amazing to be in the same room with him. I can't imagine, because I've heard the stories about him. But he was a really down-to-earth kind of guy, wasn't he? I mean, you would know him better.
He was an incredible man. You don't come to respect really who he is until years later, and you've been through all the stuff, and you start reading about him, and you see books that he's written, and I saw a show on TV here, I don't know, 8 or 9 months ago, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's Carlos out there, and he's quite a man.
Yeah,
quite a man. I can't tell you the respect, the admiration that I have for him, and the acts of heroism that he did, that I only learned about from him through sniper training.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, he wasn't one to. It was my understanding he wasn't one to really talk about it. I mean, it was others around him that publicized his feats.
No, Carlos. Well, you know, if you go through the school, he tells his trainees some stories from time to time. But he was a very modest man.
Yeah, a real American hero, just like yourself, man. Let's not discount you. I mean, obviously you saw combat. You know, we won't. Yeah, we didn't bring you on to talk about that. We just wanted to, you know, you're here because you're a fellow patriot and you're seeing what's going on in this country, and you're obviously concerned and everything. But I think it's important that we let our listeners know that we have, I would say about 80% of our listeners are either former or active duty military. I mean, we have, when they can get our show overseas, we get comments from people that are stationed at embassies and stuff when they're allowed to listen to it. And that's, you know, spotty. That's spotty. We actually had to make some arrangements on putting some of our feeds out there so they can get access to them and listen to them.
Well, that's great because, you know, it was a week before the presidential election. The show that I used to listen to with my wife every morning going into work was Glenn Beck.
Mm-hmm.
And the local radio station took him off and started playing Christmas music.
Yep.
And they never brought him back. And everybody complained about that. And it really scorches me.
Yeah.
To think that whether you agree with Glenn Beck or not isn't the issue. The fact that, you know, he had a voice. And where I'm from, Louisville, Kentucky, is a very, very liberal town. And the only voice that's here is the Courier-Journal. And that voice, if you disagree with it, it silences you. And that's what it did to Glenn Beck.
Yep.
And it really it troubles me, and it has since then.
Yeah, and that's a big misconception, you know, that you know, because I've done the research. I mean, we were looking at syndication. Now, obviously, you know, you can't feed your family and put food on the table if you continually do podcasts. It's just economically not sound, you know. And when I was approached originally to do a radio show, it was back. It was several years ago. It was actually right before Gabby Gifford. We were there was a syndication company that was going to syndicate us or promote us, and they already had a couple stations lined up. And then, you know, the tragedy in Arizona happened with Gabby Gifford, and then they kind of pulled back. And so, you know, we kind of did the research about that. And, you know, you hear this in mainstream media where they say, well, the, you know, liberals have taken over the radio. And if you look at the dynamics, if you actually do the numbers, that's not true. You know, that's a foul. When you add up everything, and so there, yeah, granted, you have the Glenn Becks of the world, you have the Sean Hannity, you have the Rush Limbaugh. The reason why they're so prolific out there is because what they produce or what they put out there, people want. People want to listen. If no one wanted to listen to them, they would be out of, you know, like I said, you can't feed your family doing podcasts. You actually, you know, the way you're going to be successful in this business, you got to be on the air on mainstream radio, terrestrial radio. And if you're not popular and people don't listen, you know, you're just not going to do it. And like it, you know, but the big misconception, like I said, going back to it is, oh, you know, we own, you know, conservative talk radio owns radio. And that's not the case. I mean, we might have the most listeners or the most, you know, the biggest audience and the you know, bigger donors and stuff, but there are far more liberal talk shows. There are far more liberal TV shows. I would say anything that comes out of Hollywood except for Duck Dynasty, you know, those guys and stuff is pretty liberal in nature. You know, everything.
Oh, I guarantee you.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a conservative. Give me, I can't. Like I said, Duck Dynasty is the only guys that I can think of that actually, you know, has a very conservative, conservative feel about it. Everything else is pretty much, cable guy, Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah, he's pretty, but everything else that comes out of Hollywood or anywhere else for that matter, it's got a liberal spin. You got, they're pushing, gay marriage and all that stuff. They're, sin. It's just crazy. I mean, I watch nighttime TV sometimes, and when I was growing up, that would have been a rated R movie. I wouldn't have been.
Well, let me ask you this: if I can ask you a question. Why? It was about 5, 6? No, it was more than that. It was about 7 years ago. The Death of a President.
Yeah.
That came out of Hollywood. It played at the theaters around here.
Yeah.
And it was a depiction of George Bush getting assassinated.
Absolutely.
Now, what do you think if something like that would have been played today?
Oh, you would be called a racist. Every name in the book. Every name in the book. I mean, you would probably have Secret Service knocking on your, yeah. I mean, do I feel that even that movie was in poor taste?
It was.
Very much so. Because of for me, it wasn't. It was because of, look, this is what do I like what's going on in this ministry? Absolutely not. It takes you 2 minutes to realize. It probably takes you less than that to listen to my show and realize I don't like what it is. But he is the commander-in-chief. He is the president of the United States. Until he is removed from that office, I will still call him Mr. President or President Obama. I'm not going, because it has nothing to do with respect towards him, because I have zero. Let's make that perfectly clear to everybody. I have zero respect for this sitting president. I have the utmost respect for that position. It's kind of like what they tell you in the military. You're not saluting the man, you're saluting the rank or the uniform. And for me, that's how I've had to distill it. Now, it's hard. There's times where I just want to go off and just unload. But I got to remember, we want to keep it family here. So we don't want to, but you're absolutely right. You can't say anything. I mean, I say stuff, and not in the Patriot sites, but I post stuff on other news organizational sites, and I've gotten called, racist, and I've been called a lot of other things, and it's just not. If you knew me, you would know, and if you knew my family, my dynamic, you would know that that's the furthest from the case.
Well, sure, but until this country gets to the point to recognize that we're not Republicans, we're not Democrats, we're not liberals, we're not white, we're not black, we're all Americans.
Yes.
And until we realize that we're all in this together,
yes,
we're never going to get anywhere. And I'm not seeing our commander-in-chief taking us anywhere out of that. As a matter of fact, I think he's taken us back to about 1913, 1915, pre-World War I.
No, I agree.
We don't. Yep. We have to be Americans.
Yep. So we're talking with Wayne. We're going to take a small break here, and when we get back, we'll just carry on the conversation. If you'd like to join in the conversation, feel free to give us get us on Skype. Our Skype number is The Midnight Patriot. We'd love to have you join the conversation. And like I said, when we get back, we'll just kind of continue the conversation here at the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can reach us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com.
I had PTSD. Once I was back from Iraq, I was distant from everybody in my family. We had a reunion of our unit, and you'd hear these spouses say, "Is your husband doing that? My husband's doing that too. I thought it was just us." And really understanding that, hey, this is a common experience.
I learned more to listen to what he was saying, and that made it easier for me to understand where his pain was coming from.
Resources are available for military families. Learn more at realwarriors.net.
After Daniel Pearl was kidnapped and murdered in Pakistan, his family and friends came together to work towards a more humane world.
On Daniel Pearl Music Day, thousands of people around the world will unite to promote harmony for humanity.
Join us in using the universal language of music
to diminish hatred,
respect differences,
and reach out in friendship.
Participate in Daniel Pearl Music Day.
promoting.
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
We were told nothing could be done to enjoy these final moments together.
But in that moment, when all seemed lost,
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital gave us hope.
Because at this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care. We're changing the way the world treats childhood cancer by sharing our discoveries with doctors and scientists everywhere.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends.
I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and join St. Jude in finding cures and saving children.
Dad, it's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money. Always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
This message brought to you by the
America. Welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. Join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com. Give us a call at 262-997-0607. 262-997-0607, or you can actually reach us also on Skype at The Midnight Patriot. That's our name. Skype is The Midnight Patriot. So, hey, Wayne, so sorry, but, had to take care of a little bit of business there, so we're back. So, as you were saying.
Understood.
Yep. So, before we went off to the break, we were talking about, the movie The President, and how if that happened here in the, in today's day and age, I mean, there would be just massive outcry. Massive outcry. And, I agree with you. I agree. There's such a double standard. Such a huge double standard in the media and everything else. So.
It is. And the media has not served us justice. And I'm not talking just MSNBC and CBS, all of them. They don't report and serve the public by ferreting out the facts and giving the public what we really need to learn and know. They give us opinions and their own little corner of the world and parochial views.
Well, exactly. I mean, the days of I consider news entertainment now. And if you look at the way that they produce it, and they the way that the show, the glitz, the studio, all of that stuff. I mean, it's nothing but it's entertainment. It's pure entertainment. I mean,
precisely.
Yeah, if I was an executive of news, I mean, I've always said, even with what we do here in our radio show, I mean, I can tell you this, we're not going to have a money bomb, and we're not going to try to build a TV studio. And you know, to those that want to do that, that's perfectly okay. We just want to keep it simple. We just want to get the message out. And if you have all those, to me, I'm having a hard enough time keeping up with the conversations during the day, and then, you know, producing the show and getting it ready. I can't have all those other distractions. I mean, I think there's a point in which you, and I've said this, is that when you grow something to where you have all that overhead, you sometimes have to make decisions that go against your core concepts or your core beliefs. You know, when you're looking at a payroll tax, or you're looking at having to pay your employees, all that stuff, you know. And so that's why here at the Midnight Patriot, we want to keep it simple. And, you know, like I said, we're going to have Sandy, you know, she's more than likely going to be our call screener and our producer. And that's it, you know, because we don't want we don't want to become entertainment. We want to be a source of news, especially a source of news for you know, patriots. The other thing, if you go to our website, you know, I know that you just got hooked into us not too long ago. Every time we have a news article or we talk about something on the show, if you click read more after the show, all of our sources where we got that information is clearly listed. There is no other news organization that does that, because we want you to see where we're getting our sources, and then you can comment and say, you know, and kind of be our eyes for us, for the truth and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah, I used to teach at the University of Louisville, and that's what I always told my students. I taught the business program, and I always encouraged them that not to just pick up the Courier Journal, but to look around for news and look for the disparities between one source and another, and to do some critical thinking on why are they different and where do the facts really come from.
Sure. And that's the thing. I mean, we got duped last week. We reported a story. It was funny. And it was actually on a main site. So we picked it up and we talked about asteroid hitting or whatever, the world. And at the end of the story, it was hilarious because they talked about it. It was going to be 10,000 times larger than any Godzilla attack. You know? And so we were like, oh, we got duped. We definitely got duped. But you know, it happens. But the thing is that I don't have a problem. Like I said, is that if you go to our show and when we cite certain articles and stuff, we use a collegiate, and it's funny you said you're a professor. We use a collegiate type system in which we document every one of our sources. So if it goes on the air, you can actually, I mean, it's properly cited. You can click to the link. You can know exactly who the source is. And if, like I said, I challenge people all the time. If I'm wrong, or if we report something that's wrong here, let us know and we will correct it, because we want to make sure that the information we give out is truthful and accurate. And, you know, if it's not, please correct us. And it's hilarious because I'll get emails or whatever where people are correcting me because I don't like the message, not because of the story, you know. And I always go back to them. I'm like, well, what's not truthful in this story? And then they're like, well, you know, you're just being racist. It always goes to that. You're just being racist. You don't like the president. And I'm like, well,
that's a common callback.
Yeah, I don't like the president. Let's get that perfectly clear. I don't like his policies. I don't like his administration. We did a show on Obama with his relationship with Sal Alinsky. Now, granted, the liberals always, you know, the Rachel Maddows will say, well, how can President Obama be influenced by Sal Alinsky when Sal Alinsky died when Obama was, 10 years old? You can't do that correlation. And I'm sitting there going, well, that's like saying, how can I be influenced by Newton's law of gravity? I mean, the books are out there. The laws and the theorems are there. And just because the man's dead doesn't mean that you all of a sudden you forget everything that he's taught you. And so we actually expose that. And I tell people, I mean, I couldn't figure out, one of the things that got me about this president is the doublespeak. And I was like, he's flat out just lying to us. And it's obvious. You know, I'm for gun control, but I'm also for the Second Amendment. Yeah, huh? I'm for freedom of speech.
Oh, he's more double speak than you can think about.
Yeah, I'm for free speech, but if you protest around my Secret Service, you'll get a felony charge, right? And it's like, well, yeah.
Okay, just like when he was in Boston here a few days ago, giving that speech, and that lady heckled him. Boy, she got shuffled off the stage real quick.
Absolutely. It's a felony. She's probably looking at a felony charge now. That he passed a law. A lot of Americans don't realize this because they're too.
It was just a few months ago.
Yeah, yep. No, it was just a few weeks ago. They actually expanded. They made the first law where you couldn't, on the Capitol, there was free speech zones and stuff, and they moved those. Then the second law that just came around is wherever there's Secret Service, he actually signed into law. Wherever there's Secret Service, for those that don't know, it's crazy. You can't protest. And the question is this. That means you can't protest anywhere around the president or any other diplomatic figure for that matter. That's the whole purpose of protesting. I can stand up here all day long. Hey, Wayne, I'm going to protest you all day long. It doesn't matter. You're not going to change anything. You can't. But apparently it's crazy.
It's all window dressing.
Yes.
He surrounds himself on the stage with, I don't know if you ever watched 2.5 Men or if you like it, but the episode where Rose got married and she was in the church with all the mannequins and fooled Charlie that she was actually getting married. And actually there wasn't anybody in the church but the mannequins. That's every time I see Obama on the stage, that's what I think.
Well, yeah.
It's Rose. He's got all his mannequins sitting behind him, applauding him on, thinking to the world, this guy's great, everybody loves me.
Yeah. All hail the king. But, and here you go. Did you watch the speech? And I know most people don't watch this stuff, but did you watch the speech that he gave in the Rose Garden where the girl passed out, right?
That was fake.
Well, there's a whole lot of, but that's not. I mean, regardless of that, they actually, and I don't know if they just think that we're this stupid and we're going to believe their crap, and I'm just going to say it because they actually found out that out of, I think there was 13 people there, 13 people that were lined up. There was only 3 that supposedly signed up for Obamacare. The other ones were just people that he pulled, and said, "Hey,
the mannequins."
Yeah, the mannequins. They were just mannequins. You just want to stand behind the president. But there was only technically 3. But then I questioned that number because it just came out this week that only 6 people actually signed up for Obamacare on the first day.
It would have been easy for him to find the 3 if there was only 6 and for him to pick from. Yeah. But it's really absurd to think that you think about. Remember Jim Jones?
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, and I was chatting with one of the other patriots today about this very thing, and I got corrected because I mentioned David Koresh, and he said, "Well, David Koresh kind of got a bad deal. Maybe he was a victim of the FBI. He wasn't a good guy. Don't get me wrong, but David Koresh, maybe the FBI killed a lot of innocent people for an unjust reason. That yet to be said, the point that I was trying to make to my other fellow patriot was, it's like a cult.
Yep.
I'm going to brainwash you and make you think my way, just like Hitler and Jim Jones and Charles Manson. If you say a message loud enough and you say it in a way in which other people will hear you, you start to follow. And it doesn't matter what that message is. You can say the sky is purple. You can say the sky is chartreuse, and they'll believe you.
And they'll believe you. Yep. And that actually goes back, to my earlier point, and then the show that we did on, you need to listen to that Obama Sal Alinsky show that I did. Because Sal Alinsky was actually, he's a radical here in Chicago. A lot of the community organizing, that whole term came from Sal Alinsky. But it was funny because it's not funny. It's actually pretty sad. But the thing is Sal Alinsky actually said, look, you can say whatever you want to, as long as you're in a position of power. And then once you get in a position of power, you can do what you want to do. Say whatever you got to do to get in. And these are the actual teachings. It's just crazy. Sal Alinsky put down 13 rules, and we talked about them on our show of what you need to do, and everything this president's doing fits in one of those rules. It is the play. I told people this, and we got to get the word out, because if you want to know what this president's doing, you got to. And I apologize. I'm going to ask you to read, Rules for Radicals by Sal Alinsky, the book. But if I was a Green Bay Packers and I'm going to the Super Bowl this year, it's like having the playbook of my opponent. I mean, literally, when you read this book, you'll be like, that's why he does what he does. That's why he can stand up there. Yesterday, he gave a speech and basically said, oh, the financial crisis is over. I've taken care of it. When we're $17 trillion in debt, by the end of this year, we'll be $22 trillion in debt. This president, America doesn't realize this. This president, in the 5 years he's been in office, has almost doubled the national debt. Doubled it. From all other presidents.
Somebody put a post on my board today that I really like. If you ever watched the History Channel, it was a picture of, there are 317 million people in this country.
I saw that.
But yet you spent $360 million on Obamacare to get it launched. Why not just give each American $1 million and forget it?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that post, and you know what? It's crazy because and I apologize that I didn't catch that for our audience a long time ago, because we actually broke down the numbers. Their site can't. It will take 3.6 years for all for the people that need to sign up for Obamacare to sign up for Obamacare. So the math doesn't add up there. I mean, there's a lot of things that don't add up. And I saw that post, and it was probably on your page and stuff where I saw that, and I completely missed it. Like, yeah, give us all $1 million, and then say go have fun, or buy your own insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got personal experience, business experience with the two companies that the country's in bed with, QSSI and CGI.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that it's not been good, and that was years ago.
Oh, it doesn't take you long to realize whenever you work with government defense contractors and stuff, they are so bloated and so inefficient. I mean, I have experience in that area too, and I used to do things. This is funny. Me and a professor at Northwestern University, a really good friend of mine, we actually came up with it's called the quantum theory of civil servants. And the theorem goes something like this: bodies at rest stay at rest, bodies in motion want to return to rest. And we used to coin that because we were independent, scholar kind of guys coming in to fix a problem, through the grants and stuff. And we used to deal with the bureaucracy, and it's like, we could fix that in like 20 minutes for you. And it's like, oh no, because you can't, and you got to have a meeting, and we're going to have this, and back then you didn't have go-to meeting, so people were flying all over the country, and then you had to meet with this senator and this congressman or this agency or whatever, and then so you had to work around their schedule. So something that you probably could have fixed in a couple days, you actually had to wait 3 months, and then you would have, then you have to go in front of the committee, and I lived that. I mean, I was there, and it got so frustrating. I said, I can't run my business this way. I can't wait to get paid. So I completely just said, forget about it. I'm gone. And that's the other thing.
It's a mess. You get Obamacare. I've got a daughter who just came off my policy for health insurance. She's a nurse. And she's got multiple sclerosis. Her treatments are $10,000 a month. And, he said, you can't get rejected for a pre-existing condition. Well, I am here to tell you firsthand that is a lie. She has been rejected.
I've got a friend, and it might be the same scenario. He takes, it's like a weekly shot or something. He gets a shot for his MS. And there's some kind of treatment that they can do with him because he's got the type of MS that it's progressively worse every time, or what, I don't know. He told me what it was, but there is a certain type of treatment that they do, but the problem is it's so expensive that it's not covered, and he doesn't know what he's going to do because he worked for UPS, and so he was covered under their long-term care or whatever it was. But now they're going, as you know, they've announced that all of their people are going to have to go on the exchange, and the exchange does not cover this treatment. And so he's like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do.
Well, my mentor, I mentioned him earlier, Carlos Hathcock. He died of MS in 2000. And the Marine Corps discharged him 6 months before his retirement because of that. He was 6 months for full retirement, and he got discharged. This guy had Silver Stars, Purple Hearts, Bronze Stars, Legions of Merit, a genuine hero. He got bitten by a bamboo viper after he crawled on his belly for 3 days to get to the North Vietnamese general that had a bounty out on his head. And he crawled back on his belly for 3 days. And the Vietnamese were so close to him, they actually stepped on his hands. And the Marine Corps let that man go 6 months before retirement.
See, and that's just, and I hear about that. I hear about, that they are actually discharging people, early so they don't have to pay the not pension, but pay their, all of their retirement pay. Now, luckily, my father retired 22 years and ended up getting out. But I do have friends who have, I asked them, I'm like, why did you get in there? Like, I didn't have a choice. I had, this medical condition. I was in combat, had this, broke my leg, did this or did that, and I got medically discharged. And then to add injury to insult, they're sitting around waiting for their VA checks for 6-7 months, and going through all that paperwork. I mean, I hear these stories from these veterans, and it's just gut-wrenching.
You serve your country. There's no, there's really, you have to ask yourself why. When I went in, I had a number. My number was 6. These men and women today, they go in as a volunteer, and they are volunteering their life for their country. When I was in, there wasn't a volunteer. You were told you were going. And to let these people that are defending our freedoms and not give them the respect that they deserve when they come back is a real shame to our flag.
Yes, and it is. I mean, if you're going to send them to war, you need to take care of them when they come. It's just, it's horrible. And the crap that they're paying, that they're now viewing, they're demonizing these soldiers. They're all, they automatically, treat them as, oh, you got PTSD, so you can't have, your Second Amendment rights, you lose that. I mean, it's crazy. I would, if I had a son or daughter, and I do, they would never, I don't know. I mean, I would rather have them join a local militia than join the United States military. And you have a mass exodus of all of our top generals and flag. Well, they're not leaving by choice. They're leaving because they're being fired and everything. So.
And why is that? Why are they being fired?
Well,
and I've got my own theory.
I got my theory too. So what we'll do, Wayne, we'll take a break and we'll come back at the top of the hour and we'll actually talk about that. Well, I have my theory and I think it kind of will probably go along with yours. So you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and podcast. Join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com. We're calling numbers at the top of the hour. What we'll do is when we come back, we'll have Wayne and we'll talk about some of these theories out there. And I think we have a little bit more information to give you today. It's getting pretty scary, America. It's getting pretty scary. So once again, join us at the top of the hour.
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
We were told nothing could be done to enjoy these final moments together.
But in that moment, when all seemed lost,
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital gave us hope.
Because at this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care. We're changing the way the world treats childhood cancer by sharing our discoveries with doctors and scientists everywhere.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends.
I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and join St. Jude in finding cures and saving children.
America, welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
What is that?
Oh, that? It's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money. Always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1,000,000. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
After Daniel Crow was kidnapped and murdered in Pakistan, his family and friends came together to work towards a more humane world.
On Daniel Pearl Music Day, thousands of people around the world will unite to promote harmony for humanity.
Join us in using the universal language of music
to diminish hatred,
respect differences,
and reach out in friendship.
Participate in Daniel Pearl Music Day, promoting
I had PTSD. Once I was back from Iraq, I was distant from everybody in my family. We had a reunion of our unit, and you'd hear these spouses say, "Is your husband doing that? My husband's doing that too. I thought it was just us." And really understanding that, hey, this is a common experience.
I learned more to listen to what he was saying, and that made it easier for me to understand where his pain was coming from.
Resources are available for military families. Learn more at realwarriors.net.
Hello?
Yay, we're coming back. So this is jumping over to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. You can join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com. Like us on Facebook, friend us and everything. We are probably one of the most accessible radio shows ever. We spend about 4 to 6 hours a day just talking to our listeners on Facebook. That's the best way to reach us at the current state. So join us on the web, www.themidnightpatriot.com. You can also, if you want to call in and talk tonight, the call-in number is 262-997-0607, or you can Skype us at themidnightpatriot.com. So, hey, Wayne, all right. So as we were going to the break, we were talking about these, there's nine either generals or flag officers who have been dismissed of duty. These aren't guys that are retiring. These aren't guys that are, have their golden parachutes are going to go work for some defense contractor. These are guys that, President Obama pulled them in the office and said, your services are no longer needed. Goodbye. It's kind of scary. It's scary.
It's extremely scary.
Yeah. I mean, and what's really concerning, and this is what I don't understand, 3 of the officers that he has terminated had direct ties or ancillary ties to Benghazi. And one of them is highly critical of what happened in Benghazi. He was actually General Carter Ham, who was commanding the U.S. African Command. Yeah, when the consulate was under attack, he's very critical. And after 60 Minutes, did you watch the 60 Minutes report this week or last week?
No, I did not. I missed that one.
You gotta watch. You can actually watch it on the internet. You don't have to TiVo it or anything like that. You can actually just go to 60minutes.com and you can actually watch it. I remember when all that was going on. I was actually literally out of the country at the time, and so I was watching it from foreign media when everything was going on, and it was just, I'm sitting there going, I know Marines are there to protect. I know this. What the heck? What is going on? And now you find out that there was a striker team that was there that they went anyways, even though they refused a direct order to stand down. There was a strike team out in the Med that could have had its jets overseen pretty quickly, and we're finding out now that they were all told to stand down. And they were told by this administration. They weren't told by the generals. They were told by the administration because, for whatever reason. Now, there's a lot of conspiracy of why Stevens was there to begin with. I don't want to say conspiracy. I think it's fact. He was doing an arms deal. He was definitely doing an arms deal. That's been proven. Between Libya and then back to Turkey and then down to the Syrian. Al Qaeda, Al Qaeda rebels, those monsters. And didn't we declare war?
That's been a hot spot there for that whole corner of the world's been a hot spot. Even when I was in 73, Gaddafi, 74 rather, Gaddafi started his stuff, and we were sent over then. Syria, Libya, that whole area has been a hot spot for 40 years.
Well, it's been a hot spot since 625 CE. A lot of people don't realize that. Actually, we talked about this in the show, and you being in Kentucky could probably appreciate that is a Hatfield and McCoy kind of argument. Now, the thing with Hatfields and McCoy, they wiped each other out, right? And so that's basically how that feud ended. There wasn't like a peace treaty between those two families. They literally wiped each other out. And so the problem is when you're dealing with the Muslim or Islam, the Muslim world, you've got well over 1 billion Muslims. I think it's like 1.2 billion Muslims. You're not going to, the numbers, you just can't, it's not going to be a treaty by nutrition or, where people, wipe each other out. And we talked about this on the show last week. I can't remember. It gets crazy sometimes, but we were discussing this, is that people don't understand. That's an argument over succession of the religion. The Sunnis, for those that don't know, were more of a democratic type of succession model where they would appoint their imam or their leader. The Shia were they thought that it should the leadership of the religion should follow the lineage or the blood lineage. And so they promoted Ali, and then it was Ali, and then of course then Ali's son took over. They were battling with each other. Well, the Sunnis executed him, chopped his head off, and ever since then they've hated each other. You're not going to fix that. My plan for the Middle East: stay the heck out of it. Let them just let them deal with it, because you're not.
I kind of like the Israeli model. The Israelis got a good model.
Yeah.
Don't mess with us, we're going to leave you alone.
Exactly.
You come over and mess with us, we're going to come over, we're going to kick your butt,
Yep.
we're going to leave, and we're not going to rebuild you.
Yep.
Just leave us alone. Let us be alone.
Yep, exactly. And, and this policy with the Middle East has gone all the way. There's an excellent book called The House of Bush, The House of Saud. You got to read it. I like to read. And, so this issue or this faithfulness that our government, I'm going to say our government this time, not just the president, but our government has towards the Saudi family, we've shown that. We will take whatever side the Saudi family, royal family, wants us to take, and that's the Sunni side. And we will support that. A lot of people don't know this, that the Syrian president, he's secular, but he's also Shia, and he's being armed and everything through Shia, through Iran is Shia, and those are the major, the two. The Al Qaeda is Sunni. So regardless of the fact that these guys are monsters, you go on the web and watch the videos. It's horrific what they do. They cut a freaking, I don't know if you saw it. I saw it and I couldn't, I've been desynthesized, but that just made me, I had nightmares, and stuff. And I'm telling you, it's not for the faint of heart, but there's videos. They tied a girl up.
Oh, no.
Did you see that video?
There, but to think that this is coming to our country.
Yeah.
I mean, am I wrong? Did you see the Dearborn? I think it was Dearborn, Michigan.
Yep, Dearborn, Michigan.
Free a law.
They didn't pass a law. What they did is the council members passed a resolution passed a resolution. It wasn't a law, but it was a resolution to I'm thinking of the word here, to acknowledge Sharia, to acknowledge it. It's kind of like, where you had all of these cities, after Sandy Hook, not cities, but these city councils got together and say, we passed a resolution to support a gun ban. Yeah, in essence, I guess you could say, well, it is, but there's a legal process that has to go through. They can't diminish, and Sharia law is actually, pretty, if people don't realize what it is, I mean, it's horrible. I mean, it is the
but
worst.
But the fact that they passed the resolution,
yeah.
I mean, the way I look at that, the fact that they passed the resolution recognizes that it being valid.
Yes.
And that empowers those people that believe in it.
Yes.
To have the right to impose on those that don't, and create their own way of life that is going to put others in jeopardy.
Yes, counterproductive. And I will tell you this. I mean, I've been in Dearborn. I know that area. I've been to the McDonald's where they, the McDonald's where they sell halal meat and all that, which is all blessed meat and stuff like that. And I will tell you, I'm a pretty imposing figure and stuff. And I usually, I don't get too concerned. Plus, I'm an avid concealed carry guy, so I don't get too concerned about a whole lot of things. But I will tell you that it was kind of different. It was very different. I mean, we have family that actually lived not too far from there. So when we would visit, I remember going to eat in Dearborn. And you're right. The fact that they would even consider a law such as that's like saying, and I'm just going to say it, but if you look at the Sharia law, it's basically women have no rights. And that's basically what, the majority of it. There's a lot more to it, but the main one, the human right issues. So that's just like us trying to pass a law that says, if you're a certain race or whatever, you have no rights, and we know where that got us. And everything.
It takes us back to 1913.
Oh, absolutely.
World War I, when women couldn't vote.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what you as a female, you're a property. You're property. And that's part of it. There's other dietary laws that are with Sharia and stuff, that they don't even get into. There's laws in regarding to how they deal with criminals, either caning or chopping off hands or, whatever they do. There's things about adultery. There's things about, you got to read the Sharia. This is a religion of peace, Wayne. Don't you know that? This is a religion of peace. Have you ever read? And I know most Americans would never read the Quran. Have you ever read the Quran or looked at it?
I have never read it. I have seen clips on it.
Sure.
I have read snippets on it. I haven't read the whole thing. I just know that from what I have read and what I have heard and what I've seen, to think that a town in the United States of America would even acknowledge the existence of such a law.
Yes.
And at a council level or even at a church level. It makes no difference to me. To me, puts at the forefront the opportunity for legal battles that when somebody starts to enforce that Sharia belief, that they have a legal right of remedy that shouldn't be there.
Well, the sheriff has already said that he is not going to enforce it. They already said, and even though in Dearborn, Dearborn is not, it is the largest populace of Muslims outside of, the Middle East or in the United States, I should say. But it's nowhere near the total. I mean, there's still a lot more secular and Christian people. So it's one of those things where I don't know. But the fact, I agree with you. The fact that they will actually even consider it is appalling to me, and stuff, because I just, like I said, stay out of Dearborn. The best way to do it is just stay out of Dearborn and everything. But the sheriff has already said that there's no law, Sharia law, that he will ever enforce. And going back to my statement about the Quran, because I've actually read it. I've actually talked to some imams, because I'm not too far from Chicago, and I have friends that are Muslim, and we communicated and everything in the years past. So one of the things that a lot of people don't realize, there is roughly, from the last time I counted, about 30 passages in the Quran that say that if you're not a Muslim, if you don't convert to Muslim, or you don't pay the tax, there's a tax for non-believers, don't pay the tax and stuff, then you are to be executed. Really. I mean, that's in the Quran. That's why I tell people, you got to read this thing, this book of peace. I'm not even going to go into Muhammad's, issues. But then, I'll hear the Rachel Maddows talk about, well, Christianity had its Inquisition and stuff. So, to be fair, I went and read the Bible, obviously, King James Version, for all that want to know what Bible I read, what version I read. I read the King James Version. There are 3 passages in the King James Version where they talk about where God commands, non-believers. But what he's talking about is basically heathens, people that not because you're a Christian or not, because you got to remember, this was all written for Jews. This is all written, the Old Testament was all written for Jews. Jesus was a Jew. So it wasn't like, if you didn't believe in Christianity, because that concept of Christianity wasn't around. But it was basically, if you don't believe in God, that's where you get smited by God. But it doesn't, so you can't, I just want to educate the listeners out there, when you hear Rachel Maddows of the world and all these other talking heads say, well, the Christian Bible is just as bad. No, it's not. No, it's not. And who's that? Is it Westgate? Who's that preacher down south that creates all the problems that the Democrats want to continually, or the liberals want to continually, paint all Christians as? Is it Westgate Baptist?
Goodness. I can't think of his name. Yeah. I know who you're talking about. I see his face.
Now you're a Christian, obviously. I'm a Christian, right? If we were in the same room with that guy, and what would we do? What would we do as Christians, as good Christians, and we were in the same room with that guy? I know what I would do. I mean, I know exactly what I would tell him. I mean, I would tell him that he doesn't represent me. He's not a Christian. He's not following the Word of God. His actions and what he's doing is not Christian. He's and I would do that. Now my question is why don't we have Muslim leaders doing that? With this radical Islam. Why don't you never hear them stand? I've yet to hear a Muslim leader get up and just go ape on this radical Islam. Never. I've never heard it. And
no, I haven't either, and I don't think you're going to.
Yeah, no, you're not. So if it's a religion of peace, if I belong to an organization that I felt was peaceful, and someone is destroying it, such as these guys are, and I didn't believe in what they were doing, I would be pretty vocal. I mean, I would be protesting. I'd be like, look, I'm not part of this religion. I don't want, I'm not part of what they're doing. But you never see that. I've yet to see any imam, leader of the Muslim or Islam faith, denounce. I mean, just openly. Now, I've heard them say, well, they don't represent us. That's not denouncing. Denouncing is, look, they don't represent us, and if I ever get in a room with this guy, you're going to have to pull me off of him. That's denouncing, but you'll never hear it. So
that's almost as comical as the NSA wiretapping or tapping the Pope's phone.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, if I was the Pope, and I would come out and just tell Obama and his administration, please wiretap me, please listen in on my conversations. Maybe you'll get a little belief in God, and you'll turn your faith around. Yeah,
I mean it's crazy. I mean it's just, and you raise a good point there with the NSA and the tapping, and we talk. Here's a great example. Did you see Jim Carr, his press secretary, sat there in front of the press and said, President Obama has spoken to Chancellor Merkel, and he promises her that he was not listening. They were not listening. The NSA was not listening to their phone calls. And I'm sitting there when I saw that. I actually posted on the web. I'm like, Mr. President, it's not Snowden that told on you this time, so you can't deny it. It's actually the German intelligence agency that caught you. And then the next day it comes out, oh yeah, 32 world leaders we were listening to, and so you can't believe anything that comes out of that administration. Nothing.
Oh no, Jay Carney, he's a loose cannon. I mean, and then you get to, the Israelis are upset with us now because we leaked out that they raided the Syrians.
Oh, they blew up the arms shipment from Russia.
Oh yeah,
blew it up in the harbor.
They're angry with us, and they have every right to be. And we're buying helicopters from Russia. Give me a break.
Yep. Well, and this is the thing that kills. I mean, what Israel and a lot of people don't realize. Russia has a battle-ready fleet sitting right there off of Israel's border. And for the president and this administration, and I'm a firm believer, they just turned their backs on Israel. I mean, there's no doubt. I just got, you see everything they do. They can talk about whatever. They have no, this administration can care less about Israel.
They want Israel to go away.
Yeah, they do. They do. They feel, this is the thing. They feel that I strongly feel that this administration and people that are running this administration, and there's people running this administration that is not the president of the United States. Let's not kid ourselves about that. There's other people.
Oh, well, no.
And they don't want
it. The United States is too busy playing golf.
Yeah, you're right. And no, I'm a firm believer that there is a segment that feels that if Israel was not there, in their naivety of what world history, it's kind of like you take away the gun. It's the same segment that believes if you take away the guns, you're going to eliminate crime. Well, they feel that if you get Israel out of there, you're going to, all the Middle East problems are going to go away. Newsflash: they've been fighting each other since 625 CE.
And they're going to keep on going.
And they're going to keep on going.
It all has to do about that oil and getting through the Straits of Hormuz.
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's it's the naivety. But yeah, that's the mindset you're dealing with right now. Well, if you get rid of guns, you're going to get rid of crime. If you get rid of Israel, you're not going to have any problems in the Middle East. But Israel's made it perfectly clear. And this just tells you the diminishing influence that the United States has on world events. Israel just said.
Well, speaking of that, Forbes comes out today with the most powerful man on the planet.
Yeah, Putin. That actually came out. Yeah, Putin.
Actually, you're right. It was 2 days ago.
Yep,
I think it was.
Putin. Yep, the most influential. Man is Putin. That is in the history of that release. That's the first time that the president of the United States was not listed. or was not number
Vladimir Putin.
Yep.
Yep.
KGB.
Can you believe it?
KGB. You know.
Yep, and that's exactly where our Secret Service is going with this, with the elimination of the First Amendment.
Yep.
And these no protest zones that they're putting around. And I want to surround the president and all of our elected officials with these mannequins that always smile and clap when I say something I want them to clap about.
Yep.
That's where we're headed.
No,
it's going to be KGB.
No, it's clear. It's clear, King Obama. I mean, you know, and that's, we talked about this. A lot of people will state or say that, well, Obama hates Christians because he's Muslim, and I've done the research, and we talked about this many times on the show. No, I think he hates Christians because he's a socialist, Maoist, communist. And you know, the first thing that they try to eliminate in those is anything to do with the religion, because they want to be the center of the people's attention. And that's why he is such an attack on our religious beliefs. It's not because he's Islam or whatever. I firmly believe that he's a socialist communist. If you look at everybody he's associated with, everybody he's been taught by, everybody that he's aspired to be, they were either a Maoist, they were either a socialist, or they were a communist. And in some cases,
absolutely,
yeah. And that's why he's doing this. He's trying to diminish our look. Well, there it is.
He is taking our military down. He is.
So let's do this. What we'll do, Wayne, can you stay on a little bit longer, or are you?
I'm good.
You're good. So what we'll do is we'll take a break. Join the conversation at www.themidnightpatriot.com. When we get back from this break, we will we'll continue our discussion with Wayne. I do apologize if anybody else is calling in, but we're in a great discussion. That's what happens here at the Midnight Patriot. We get into these discussions, and a 30-minute discussion turns into a 3-hour discussion. So join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com. Like us on Facebook. If you do want to join the conversation, right now the best way to reach us is through our Skype. That's The Midnight Patriot is our Skype name.
I'm Eric Kipple, 10-year veteran of the NFL.
I'm Captain Mark McNeil, 16-year veteran of the Army National Guard. Whether on the playing field or the battlefield, you must be both physically and mentally fit.
If you're injured, you owe it to yourself and your teammates to get back to peak performance. It doesn't matter if you've got a broken bone, depression, a traumatic brain injury, PTSD, or another psychological wound.
Getting help shows strength, not weakness.
To find out more, go to realwarriors.net.
After Daniel Pearl was kidnapped and murdered in Pakistan, his family and friends came together to work towards a more humane world.
A foundation was formed in Daniel's name to promote cross-cultural understanding through journalism, music, and innovative communications.
On Daniel Pearl Music Day, thousands of people around the world will unite to promote harmony for humanity.
Carrying on his mission of connecting people through words and music.
Join us in using the universal language of music to diminish hatred,
respect differences,
and reach out in friendship.
We invite you to perform, support, or attend a Daniel Pearl Music Day event in October.
Participate in Daniel Pearl Music
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
At this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends.
I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and visit.
America. Welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
What is that?
Oh, it's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
Whoa, dinosaurs. Cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money. Always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep. Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is. Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
This message brought to you by the American...
You're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I am your host, Jeff Norton, and man, this hour, it's an hour and a half that we're going through and stuff. But if you want to join us on the web, that always happens here at the Patriot. We get into great conversations. We got Wayne on the line. We'll get to him in a second. You got to do a little station work here. So, if you'd like to join us on the web, join us at www.themidnightpatriot.com. The best way to currently reach us right now, if you want to join in the conversation, is through Skype. Our Skype name is The Midnight Patriot. Our Skype name is The Midnight Patriot. If you are a friend of ours on Facebook, you don't have to worry about sending us a Skype request. You can just call us directly using Skype. Now, we will be adding more phone lines. We have a 12-line system that we'll be placing an order for here in the next couple of days, and we'll get that up and running here very quickly. So right before we went off to the break, we were talking about, this is president and his distaste for Christian values and the Christian. And Wayne, you're bringing up a point about the military. Wayne, are you there?
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Okay.
listening.
Yeah, so you brought right before we went on the break. You started, and I do apologize for cutting you off there at the end there. But you were starting to talk about something about the military, and in regard to what we were talking about.
I just find it amazing that our president has gotten to the point where he's got to put restrictions on our soldiers and our military people that are defending our freedoms, that says that you can't pray, that you can't believe in God, and just the general treatment as a whole. It's criminal. When I joined the military, I took an oath, and that oath was to defend this country against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And I took that oath seriously when I was in. And I believe that oath transcends my discharge, that I still, at my ripe young age of 60, have that oath that I need to abide by. And the fact that he has taken away our liberties one little bit at a time, he is systematically removing what liberties that we have. I teach concealed carry in the state of Kentucky. I've been certified by the Department of Justice to do this. And I don't do it for money because you can't make money at it. You just can't do it. For every person that comes through my class, I got to pay the state $25 for the certificate. And the most I can charge for a class for a student is $75. So the most I can do, the most I can make is $50 a head, and it's an 8-hour class. And out of that $50, I got to pay range fees, I got to pay for targets, and everything else that goes along with it. So there's no money in it. And I didn't get that certification with the thought in mind that I'm going to be a millionaire. In fact, most of the students that I teach, I ask them for just the $25, and if they can't afford that, I'll pay for it. Because at some point, people need to defend themselves, and there's a lot of people out there that are hurting, that are afraid, that are good citizens. And I vet my students. I don't just take anybody into my class. But they have the right to defend themselves, and they have the right to arm themselves.
Yep.
If that makes any sense to you.
No, it makes perfect sense. I mean, and look what's going on right now with the LAX. I don't know if you've been watching the news, but we've been watching the news flashes. They're saying a person, of course, went into LAX with a AR-15 assault rifle, right? AR-15 assault rifle. It's funny how they get that term mixed up. It's not AR-15 means armor light. It has not, AR is armor light, not assault rifle. For those that don't know, assault rifles have been banned. They're not banned. You have to have a special license to have them, and you can't manufacture them. So that, let's not get into that. That's actually a conversation with Major Pandemic when he comes on the show. But but the thing that they're saying that's disturbing, and we actually led the conversation off earlier tonight with this, is that they're saying that he was anti-government. He was anti-New World Order. You already see the spin that they're doing? How about this? This is a young man who obviously has mental issues, and that's what he is. Because I don't know about you, but I don't have a problem with government per se. I have a problem with a government that oversteps or subverts their constitutional right. I have that problem. Definitely have a problem. I have a problem when a government tells me I can't pray, but I have to, I'm not allowed to pray because of my religious organization, but if I'm Muslim, I can do whatever I want to do. Or if I'm, whatever, it's a systematic, it could be, you could pray to French fries if this administration, as long as it weakens the Christian values, which is the core values and the beliefs of this country, as long as it weakens that, they'll support you. And yeah.
Well, sure, they're putting their own little clan into the military.
Yep.
I mean, it's just like the guy that was in the Fort Hood shooting.
Yes.
I mean, he was a plant. I mean, I believe that.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, but he was Muslim. Oh. He goes wacko and kills a dozen people or so, and he gets kind of shuffled off to the end. They capture this Al-Awlaki guy.
I was going
rather
there.
Rather than interrogate him, they take him to a civilian court in New York and read him his rights. And after they do that, all the valuable information about Al-Qaeda and potential attacks just vanish.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And actually, there is, and I'm going to pull the article up. There is a direct connection between the Fort Hood shooter and the number 2 guy that we just killed, we drone striked and killed in Afghanistan. I mean, this is the only American who was actually killed and that's, we have a lot of the people up in arms about that. The fact that, our president now is killing Americans without due process. My thing is, if you're in a war zone and you're waging war on this country, that's just, I'm sorry, you get a bullet in the head. And unfortunately, it wasn't a bullet; it was a Tomahawk missile or whatever they used. But let me pull this article up so we can kind of.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, it was. It was Al Harbi. Al Harbi, actually, his name is spelled A-L-H-A-R-B-I. Al Harbi. He actually has been to the White House several times. Under the current administration, he's actually been to the Department of Defense several times, at the Pentagon. And on top of that, he's been associated with the Fort Hood shooter. And then, all of a sudden, several years later, we deem him a terrorist threat, and then we send in a drone strike and eliminate him.
We're being systematically dismantled from inside.
Yeah, you got to ask yourself.
And I don't think it's a mistake either. I think it's a plan.
Yeah. Well, did you see the video?
That's my opinion.
And I have my feelings about 9/11. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. Did you see the video that the FBI had to release the other day of the Pentagon bombing?
No.
The Pentagon. I mean, through a FOIA request, the FBI had to release. They actually had a hotel parking lot camera that was facing the Pentagon. So the agency filed a FOIA request. The FBI lost the case in federal court, so they had to release the case. So they have this video, right? The one thing that's missing in the video is the airplane. You got to watch it. Now, obviously, they edited it, right? They edited it. And my thing is this. This is what's actually thrown me over the edge on 9/11. I mean, this is for me. This is actually what's now. It's gone from the government knew about it. They allowed it to happen so they can seize control more, do the Patriot Act and stuff. I mean, from that point of view, to the government was culpable in this. The government was part of this. And now I'm now looking at, I mean, I had my doubts about Building 7 just falling on its own and stuff, but now they released this video. If they wanted to shut the conspiracy theories up, they wouldn't have edited out the fact that the airplane flew. They edited that part out. They don't show the airplane at all. They show, and you can see where it's edited. You got to watch it. It's on the internet. They had to release it.
Well, I'm going to have to take a look at that.
Yeah.
I've had my feelings about this government being corrupt since the Kennedy assassination.
Yep.
Now, I was a young boy at that time, so it didn't really register with me. But since I've seen the movie JFK and everything, and I'm pretty good with the rifle.
Yeah.
I mean, I shot in the '76 Olympics.
Yep.
I was a member of the All-Marine Rifle and Pistol Team, and at 1,500 yards, I can shoot the wings off a fly.
Yeah.
And I do not believe for 1 second that Lee Harvey Oswald was a lone assassin.
Yeah.
My belief, based on what I have read, the pictures that I have seen, and the Zapruder film, I just don't believe it's possible with that moving target as it was.
Sure.
And I think that the government has gradually gone through this corruption stage since the Kennedy assassination.
Yep. Well, you got. There's a whole. You know what? There's a gentleman, a very well-known author, who's a Kennedy. He's written several books on Kennedy, and we've been talking back and forth. And you know what? Since you raised it up, maybe I'll get him on the show next week. He's a guy that does mainstream. You'll know who he is the minute you hear him. He actually worked with Oliver Stone on some of the details, and we've been talking back and forth. And so maybe this would be a good time because with December and stuff to get him on the show. But it's just crazy. Like I said, they could have just shown. It's like the one that they showed from the guard shack where they showed the explosion but didn't show the airplane. If they want to put the conspiracy theories to rest, show the plane. You know what? We're not gonna be offended with everything else that you're saying. That's out there on the internet and stuff. That's not going to offend America. Show the airplane going into the building, or just show the. You don't have to show the airplane even entering the building. You just show the airplane, there, and that will put it out. But you know what?
I agree.
It's not there. And there's an excellent movie. Everybody needs to watch it. It's called Loose Change. You can get it on Netflix. It's still on Netflix. You got to watch that because they actually break. I mean, they have the turboprop of the airplane part. They show a part of the turboprop, and they take that to Pratt Whitney or General Motors, whoever manufactured or supposedly manufactured the engines for these for this supposed passenger airplane. And GE, I think it was GE, said that's not our engine. That's not our turbine. That's not, I mean, you got to watch this video. I mean, it's called Loose
Change.
It's called Loose Change. You can get it. It's on Netflix. It's the only one that's still on Netflix as far as the conspiracy theory. There's Zeitgeist, which is another one. But, I recommend anybody that hasn't done it. You can actually go to YouTube and watch it. They're out there. They allowed people to make copies of it and put it out there on YouTube. Highly recommend it. It will open your eyes. It will open your eyes.
I will check that one out.
It's called Loose Change. But yeah, this administration is just, obviously lawless. And here you go. Just today, apparently, they allowed. There's been reports that there was an off-the-book transfer of nuclear weapons from Texas to Carolinas. There has been some theories that there was actually about 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, there was a 4.5 magnitude disturbance off of the coast of Fort Lejeune. You know that area very well.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So there was a disturbance, a 4.5 magnitude. It actually, if you go to the USGA's website and you go back about 3 weeks ago, you will actually see it. It actually registered on the USGA site. The rumor mill is the day after that happened, or 2 days after that happened, Biden. Have you noticed that when Obamacare launched, Biden wasn't anywhere around? You notice that? You didn't see him on TV or anything?
Imagine that.
Do you know where he was at? He was in Russia. If you look at his travel logs, he was in Russia. But let me kind of break this down, and we're still doing the research, but let me tell you where I'm going with this. You had a documented off-the-books transfer of nuclear warheads out towards Fort Lejeune. Last time I checked, that area was not a SAC base. There's not a SAC base over there for the Air Force. So you got to ask yourself, why did that happen? But no one's disputing that happened. There were some people that were criticized, and even mainstream media talked about it. So they transferred these nuclear warheads. And you don't transfer nuclear warheads unless you've got some kind of authority, i.e. presidential authority to do it. So they were done. You have an earthquake off of the coast of North Carolina, 4.5 in magnitude. Your seismic experts are all saying that it was an anomaly. Something was going on. You have generals being sacked just recently. The general that's in charge of the nuclear program for the United States Air Force was just sacked. He was one of the latest ones, like within a couple days of all this happening. You got Russia, who's reporting they're up in arms, because if it was a nuclear warhead that was detonated that caused that anomaly, we violated we violated arms treaties with Russia. So then you have Joe Biden going over to Russia. Yeah, literally, he was over in Russia. Well, that's why you didn't hear about him. He was over in Russia dealing with Putin, probably to keep him from filing, some kind of UN complaint for arms issues. And then today, let me draw this picture. It doesn't get any scarier than this. Today, the United States Air Force General, Major General Joseph D. Brown, the 4th, his airplane crashed. His private airplane just crashed. He was the general responsible for the investigation over the nuclear warheads being transferred.
I did not hear that.
Yep.
That happened today?
Happened today. Happened today. We'll actually have it posted up on our sources. But yes, if you go to, I'll have to pull it up. But we'll do it. We'll post it up there for you. But yeah, now this is the thing that this is a gentleman, United States Air Force pilot, but he was in a Cessna 210, which is, I believe, it's a multi-engine airplane. But it crashed in Williamsburg Jamestown Airport in a subdivision. There was no deaths, but him and another passenger were killed. Now, so you understand why I understand planes crash, but the problem that I have with this is that this is a guy. Well, here we go. Prior to assuming the current position, he served as Deputy Director of Nuclear Operations, U.S. Strategic Command, Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska. In this capacity, he was the principal advisor to the commander on issues pertaining to strategic deterrence and nuclear operations, as responsible for management and oversight of the nuclear enterprise, overseeing personal, procedural, equipment, communications, and facility requirements supported the nuclear command and control system. The general, this is the part that I this is why I have a hard time believing that.
That's an awful strange coincidence.
Yeah, the general is a command pilot with over 4,300 hours, primarily in the B-1 and B-52, including combat time and Operations Enduring Freedom and Iraqi Freedom. This is obviously he's a general, but not only that, he's got 4,300 hours. I just find it hard to believe. Hard to believe. I know accidents happen, but if you take the totality, if you take everything we laid out for you, you get the fact that, we do know that there was an off-the-books transfer. We do know that there was a magnitude 4.5 magnitude earthquake off of the coast of the Carolinas. You take the fact that the Russians were upset. They were going to raise an issue with it. You have Biden over there in Russia during the most critical time of the president's administration. Biden was off in Russia. You have like I said, you have the general who was in charge originally. He gets sacked. And then you have the general who's doing the investigation. He dies mysteriously in a plane crash.
It's an awful strange coincidence. And I've got to say, this guy, this president he is a master of timing, if nothing else.
Yeah.
I mean, from the rollout and signature of Obamacare, and I remember December 24th, the day that, the Senate passed it, and Mitch McConnell and all of them were at the Capitol building. It was snowing in D.C., and they were all the way through. Just the timing of everything that has happened since he has been in. The rollout of Obamacare has been strategically placed so that the midterm and the presidential elections kind of passing by.
Yep.
And he doesn't have to deal with that issue.
Yep.
Everything that has taken place has been carefully planned. I mean, it's not by accident. Now, there's little pieces of that that's beginning to unravel with Obamacare now, and the websites and the IRS scandals that's going on in Benghazi and everything else. But there's so many facts. This is the most secretive president that in my lifetime.
Which is funny because he said we're going to be the most transparent administration ever. And then, when they said Obamacare, as Americans will be able to listen to every argument, every discussion on C-SPAN. And then they had the director of C-SPAN go, well, why aren't you recording this? And he's like, because we were told we can't be there.
Well, of course, yeah. And he said that, I remember years ago, before Obamacare was passed, I promise you, I will not raise taxes on the middle class one dime, not one dime.
And then they go to the IRS and argue the fact that Obamacare is legal because it's a tax and he has the authority to issue and levy taxes under the Constitution.
And now they're going to penalize military personnel for supporting things like the Tea Party candidates.
Yep. Yeah, and the military, and that's why, we here at the Midnight Pager, we salute our military and everything because, I know there's a lot of other friend shows and stuff, and they're obviously they're and like a citizen, I am concerned about the militarization of our police force and also the military and everything. But the reality of it is that most of the soldiers that I know, most of the military active and stuff, would never turn their guns. Now, you're always going to have a knucklehead or two or a couple that, because of psychological warfare or whatever, will do it. But they are a small minority. And I think that's why this administration is so concerned about the veterans, because the veterans, you guys can if you're a Marine, and once a Marine, always a Marine. And when you're talking to your fellow Marines, who do you think they're going to listen to? They're going to listen to you before they listen to their commander-in-chief. I mean, that's just the way it works. Yep. Because they know that. Yep.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and so that's why this administration is so bent on demonizing our military and our our retired and non-active and that's why they want to take the guns away from them, because they know that when it does hit the fan, and yeah, you're going to have some knuckleheads, you always do, who are going to say, oh yeah, we're going to gung-ho. It's like, look at what happened with Katrina and the general, where they had the 50 on top of the peacekeeper there at that time as a peacekeeper, and the general comes in there and he's screaming at his men saying, get that gun, these are American citizens, he basically told them that you don't turn your guns on the people. He got sacked for doing that, but that was actually under Bush. He was under Bush's wings at that time, but the thing, what I'm going with this is that this president knows that when he has to call on the American military to quell the American people, he knows he doesn't have, unless he can disarm you, the veterans, he knows he doesn't have a chance, because it takes 2 or 3 veterans to stand up and say, Marines, my fellow Marines or my fellow whatever, this is not the oath that you took. Get it right. And at that point, then it turns on the government. And then you. Well,
there are enough veterans out there, and the little when the hogs rode into D.C., I couldn't have been prouder.
Mm-hmm.
And what you don't want to do is go messing with. He doesn't want to go messing with the veterans. And when the truck drivers came in there and shut down D.C., that to me that sent the message that if the two people got together, the veterans and the truck drivers and the airline pilots, and they just said, enough's enough. We want an end to this madness. And they did the same thing. Somebody'd have to take notice.
Yes.
There's far more veterans than there are active military people, for sure.
Absolutely. And the thing is, there's far more veterans in a position to push influence, that can say, these are, like I said, I know I've got Marine buddies, I've got Army friends, I got Air Force, I got, all the branches. I got friends in every one of the branches. And I will tell you that a young soldier, even though they're given an order to do X, Y, Z, if there's a veteran there who has earned, the medal and everything, they're going to listen. I hate to say it. They're going to step outside the command structure and they're going to follow, what's going on, because you just can't, I don't care what you say. It just doesn't, it just doesn't set right. I mean, they need, and I think this purging of now one of the things that does concern me, this purging of the top brass, it is a message to the lesser officers and stuff that don't mess with this administration. But, I have a couple Marine officers here at they were stationed here at the Great Lakes Naval Station. There's a small Marine group here. They actually, when they passed the don't ask, don't tell, or rescinded that or whatever, they actually took their retirement and left. And
I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a little sidetrack. But when we talk about the master of timing, and this Dakota Myers, he earned his Medal of Honor. And this, the recent Army soldier, he won his Medal of Honor. And I'm not going to discount his heroism and what he did for this country one bit.
Yep.
The question I have is, you noticed when Obama made those awards for both Medals of Honor, they were right after the military. He did something to make the military mad.
Oh. Yeah, it's look, these guys, I've said this all along, they don't do they've got anthropologists, psychologists, they got all sorts of people around them that they know what the feeling of America, and so they know how to stage these things. It's a soft kill. The whole shutdown thing, the whole shutdown was, that's a soft kill. What they did is they ended up getting, a lot of Americans don't know this. They ended up getting more than what they actually wanted. And that's what's kind of concerning about the whole shutdown anyways. The legislation that was passed basically told the president, they didn't say, all right, we're going to allow you to, increase the deficit or the debt to $17 trillion. They didn't say that. What they did say was the debt ceiling is removed and we will reconvene in December or January. They're going to reconvene. So basically they didn't give them a check. They gave them the checkbook. And now the GAO is saying at our current spend, the way that we're spending money right now, this administration is going to, by February when they reconvene, $22 trillion. $22 trillion. That's well over $160,000 that we owe right now as individuals because of our government. And that's funded debt. Unfunded debt is a number that it's mathematically impossible to even reconcile that. It's $121 trillion, which basically means that each American that pays we're going to have to write a check for $1.1 million to make this country whole.
We're headed towards Spain and Greece.
Yep, it's crazy. It's crazy. So Wayne, man, it's been great talking to you. How about this? Can you stay on one more segment, and then we'll do our Fallen, and then we'll kind of wrap it up. Is that okay?
Sure.
All right. So you're listening to Jeff Norton, the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. What we'll do is when Wayne comes back, we're going to obviously do our tribute to the troops. And when we get back from this commercial break, and we'll just kind of break it down and kind of ease on into the weekend. You're listening to the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast. Join us on the web at www.themidnightpatriot.com.
After Daniel Pearl was kidnapped and murdered in Pakistan, his family and friends came together to work towards a more humane world.
A foundation was formed in Daniel's name to promote cross-cultural understanding through journalism, music, and innovative communications.
On Daniel Pearl Music Day, thousands of people around the world will unite to promote harmony for humanity.
Carrying on his mission of connecting people through words and music.
Join us in using the universal language of music to diminish hatred,
respect differences,
and reach out in friendship.
We invite you to perform, support, or attend a Daniel Pearl Music Day event in October.
Participate in Daniel Pearl Music Day, promoting
America. Welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
What is that?
Oh, it's my time machine.
Does it work?
Sure, just hit this button.
80 seconds.
Whoa, dinosaurs, cool.
Or we can go here.
Hey, that's Napoleon.
Oui.
Or we can go to the future.
Wow, hey, you have this nice house. Do I have a nice house?
No, you didn't save any money, always spent it on vacations and stuff.
If only there was a way I could go back in time and correct that bad habit.
Yep.
Okay, the time machine is not real, but the saving thing is.
Second.
Get in the habit of putting some of your money in savings each week through a 401k, savings account, or financial investments. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free ideas and easy tips on saving, go to feedthepig.org. That's feedthepig.org.
What does this crazy little button do?
Wait, no!
This message
I had PTSD
Once I was back from Iraq, I was distant from everybody in my family. We had a reunion of our unit, and you'd hear these spouses say, "Is your husband doing that? My husband's doing that too. I thought it was just us." And really understanding that, hey, this is a common experience.
I learned more to listen to what he was saying, and that made it easier for me to understand where his pain was coming from.
Warriors should know that resources are available. Learn more at Real
In a
Warriors.
moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
At this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care.
And will never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends. I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and visit.
You are listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Norton. You can join us every weekday night from 9 p.m. Central Time until 11 guaranteed, and most times it goes into 3 hours, especially when we have a great guest. And so as we're wrapping up the night and everything, don't forget we will do our honor for the fallen. We haven't forgot about that and everything. So we actually had a guest on. Wayne is joining us. From Kentucky. So Wayne, I told you it was going a 1 hour conversation would turn into 2 easily. That's typically what happens on this show.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So I appreciate it. It's great. And, you are kind of the example that we wanted to, that's what this show is about, is to get fellow patriots, allow you to have the opportunity to come on the air and actually join into the conversation, because I don't have all the answers. I don't claim to have all the answers, and it would be good to hear from other individuals such as yourself and stuff. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your evening and spending the time with our audience, and more importantly, I appreciate your service to this country. I know that you were you're a combat veteran with the Marine Corps, second battalion. And, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. My family said, on behalf of my family, I'd like to say thank you. On behalf of my nation, even though right now it doesn't feel like our nation appreciates our armed service members and everything, we appreciate everything you've done for us. So is there anything you'd like to wrap up the evening with?
No, I appreciate the kind words. When I came back, wearing the Marine Corps dress blues was not something that a lot of Marines were proud of during the Vietnam War and shortly thereafter. We just, most of the respect that I earned was overseas in England. It's only been within the past decade or so that, people will see me and see my Marine Corps hat or something to recognize me and thank me for my service, and that means a whole lot. That means more to me now than it would have probably meant when I got out. I had a friend of mine, Cody, Corporal. He was a Marine brother of mine that we lost in combat. I want to pay respect to him. A fellow Marine that I used to work with at the little gas and electric company, Mr. Roth Parr, also a combat veteran who was severely wounded in Vietnam, lost with a mortar shell half his face, won the Silver Star, and it's through men like that gave unselfishly to this country. I don't consider myself a hero. I just did what I had to do. But it's folks like Rolf and Cody and others out there that are not going to allow our freedoms to slip away without speaking up and doing something about it. And I want to thank those folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I appreciate you being on the show and stuff. It was just an incredible conversation that we had tonight, and everything. I mean, it's just you are exactly what this show was intended to do and everything. So we're going to do our honor of the fallen section next. So Wayne, why don't you stay on? Why don't you listen to what we're going to do here? Because I know this is the first time you actually listening to the show and everything.
Okay, thanks.
So, yeah, stay. I'm going to put you on mute, but God bless you. God bless your family. We'll be in touch. I'm sure after that. But why don't you stay on and kind of listen to what we do here for you and for all those that serve this country. Yep. So with that, so Wayne, 2nd Battalion Marine, Combat Marine. Like I said, that's you want to help affect change. This is the Midnight Patriot radio show and podcast is a way that you can do it. It's a way that we give you the voice that you normally don't have. Now, like I said, I know a lot of people on Facebook, they send the pictures, do all that stuff, and that's great. That's a great way to communicate. But, this is the opportunity for you to add voice to the discussion and stuff. So, and like I said, we will be adding more and more phones and everything. So we'll get more people into the conversation. Our goal has always been, Sandy and I, once we get going, we are going to travel across this great country, and we will be doing podcasts and radio shows from local diners and local establishments, and kind of sitting around the table and allowing patriots to join into the discussion and everything. So that, so you guys know that's our plan here. But we got to, in order to do that, we got to grow it. We got to let the powers that be know that we're here to stay and we're not going anywhere, and that we're going to grow this. We're going to grow this form of communication and stuff. So with that, as you all know, we do a segment here every night. As long as there are men and women who put on this country's uniform and are put in harm's way, and actually pay the ultimate price, we will always do this segment. I don't care how big we get, we will always make time for this part of our show. And I want to stress to you, regardless of your political beliefs, regardless of your beliefs about the war, we are here to honor the men and women who have paid the ultimate price. We are here to offer support to a grieving family, to a grieving nation. When we lose a soldier, the nation as a whole is diminished. And I don't make any apologies for this next segment, nor will I ever. And if you're offended by this, I will flat out, and I'm saying this because I've gotten a couple of texts and stuff. If you're offended by this, we are not the show that you need to be listening to. Because as long as I am doing the show, which means as long as I am alive, we will always honor the men and women who have paid the ultimate price. Now, I want to let you know, this segment, I know that we do it for the month of October and November. So we're actually in November 1st. So what I want to do is that we will remember those in October. But more importantly, we will make sure that you don't forget a gentleman who we lost in 1972, Corporal Cody, United States Marine Corps. Our hearts go out and our prayers go out to the void. Even though it was in 1972, his loss is still felt to this day. And so I wanted to make sure that we never forget. If I could sit here all day long and read names of soldiers, I would do that. But I just want, this dedication to our fallen is in special recognition of Marine Corps Corporal Cody. Passed away, left this earth, defending our country and our freedom in 1972. Marine Corps Lance Corporal Christopher O. Grant October 20th, 2013. Army Sergeant Lyle D. Turnbull, October 18th, 2013. Army Staff Sergeant Patrick H. Quinn, October 13, 2013. Army Sergeant Patrick C. Hawkins, October 6, 2013. Army Captain Jennifer M. Marino, October 6, 2013. Army Private First Class Cody J. Patterson, October 6, 2013. Army Sergeant Joseph M. Peters, October 6, 2013. Lance Corporal Jeremiah M. Collins, Jr., October 5th, 2013. If you are a veteran, if you are a retired or even active duty, and you need assistance with anything, please give us a call. Join us on Facebook. Email me. My email address is jeff@themidnightpatriot.com. We will get you the services and get you in touch with the resources that you need. If you are a family member, please reach out to us. We will make sure that you are taken care of. I will move heaven and earth for you to get you the services that you need. To all of those who have lost loved ones, I just want to let you know that my family, my nation grieves for you. And you will always be in our hearts and prayers. We must move on. That's just the way things go here. That's the way they would want it and everything. So the good news is, obviously, we did not read any names for the month of November. So for that, we are eternally grateful. So, wow, what a conversation. We had, Wayne was on, and that was an excellent, excellent conversation. Like I said, that's what this show's all about. Now, we are in the process of adding more phone lines and everything so we can get more to join the conversation. But that costs money. So we, unlike our government, I should say my government, unlike our government, we have to live within our means. We have budgets. So, like I said, the piece of equipment that we now have to purchase is about $2,000. That's eBay price. That's not retail price. That's eBay price. In order to offer 12 phone lines. But we're going to do it. I've always said this on this show. God doesn't give me what I want. He gives me what I need. And same with you. So we, might want that hybrid, that digital hybrid to add 12 lines. But, it will come when when we need it. It's in his hands. And he'll guide us. He'll make sure that we get what we need. So, wow, what a conversation. What a week. We had some just incredible guests. So, we had Wayne, We had Prepper Recon was on the show on Thursday, giving us great insight, as far as medical kits. We had soon-to-be Congressman Rodney Lee Conover. He's the 8th district. For you guys who don't know, that was Nancy Pelosi's old seat before they redistricted it. So he was on the show. We had Joe Wurzelbacher, a.k.a. Joe the Plumber. He was on the show this week. We had Typhoon Lou Marin, and Lauren J. Eanes. Lauren, an author of The Sword of Liberty. Also, they are partnered in with an organization called IamAmerican.org. Highly recommend you go out to their website. They're huge proponents, and actually they converted me. I wasn't too sure about the Article 5, but they gave me an education. And if you listen to the show, they can explain it to you as well. So that they were on this week. Just unbelievable. We have just an outstanding list of guests so far. And it just lets you know the quality of the show that we're producing. People believe in us. People believe in our message. And we can't do that without you and your help. So as we go into the weekend, normally this is an abbreviated show. I carried it over a little bit longer. Usually on Fridays, we do a 2-hour show. But like always, this weekend, spend time with your family, spend time with your loved ones. I don't care what your differences might be. Pick up the phone. I'm going to do that. I've got some family members that I haven't talked to in a while. I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call them. And I ask that you do the same. Because you got to remember, if you're looking for the government or someone to take care of you, it's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. This is a time in which we as a nation need to come together. Now, we can do that. My recipe for change here is that we need to start coming together as a family. Then we need to start coming together as a church and then as a community. And then we need to start getting our political people that we appoint or elect as to represent us. We need to let them know that if their house isn't in order, we're not interested. That's how we're going to make change here. Now, we did talk about over the week, we talked about some dire things. I mean, we're up against the wall. You are going to see in the next 3 to 5 years a significant change in our country. We're seeing it now. We're going to have financial change. We're going to have, socialistic ideas are propping up everywhere because the government is going to step in to try to take care of you. We're seeing that. The government's positioning themselves to be the caretaker of the people. As great as that might sound, it's never worked. And all it does is enslave people from Egypt all the way up to modern communism. It enslaves people. Jake Danish-Vesky, author, we had him on 2 weeks ago. After Taste and Tales from Russia. Great book. Highly recommend it. I finished it, Jake. Good book. I actually read the whole thing. Wrote my notes too. Got some questions for you. Recommend that you guys, read that book. Jake clearly talks about communism and what that looks like here in America and what he is seeing. Like I said, my last podcast, you want to get the playbook. You want to be, you go to the Super Bowl and you want to know what your opponent's doing, because there is no greater Super Bowl than this country and what's going on here. You need to read Rules for Radicals. Now, granted, I will tell you, when you're done, go to confession or do whatever your religion tells you to do to get that evil out of your head. To tell you, I'm just going to give you a warning. Sal Alinsky dedicates that book. There's 3 dedications that he makes. And this should tell you everything. And this is the playbook that our president is using for his systematic takeover of this country. He dedicates that book to Lucifer. Lucifer. It's in his book. I'm not making this up. You got to read it. You got to see it in your own eyes. Hold it. Just make sure that you take a shower afterwards, because you're going to feel dirty. It's evil, pure and simple. It's the systematic, it's the systematic plan for taking over a once great democracy. Can we return to that? Absolutely. We got to start affecting change. And the way that we can do that is at our family level, at our church, at our community. Great news. Article 5, Ohio signed on to it. So we have 10 states. We need 36 total. We got amendments. So, I highly recommend that you go out to IamAmerican.org and kind of keep what's going on. We're going to, if the government won't change, we, the states, have the ability through Article 5 to make the change for them. So go out there, see what's up. Find good Tea Party conservative candidates, those like Rodney Lee Conover, those like Stone Anthony, guys who are just like you and I, who want to make change. I've said this before. There's 2 types of people that run for political office. Those that have reached the pinnacle of their professional career and they want to move higher. They want to, they got to stroke that ego. That's person number 1. Person number 2 is the citizen politician or the statesman, the farmer, the factory worker. Those people. And I can guarantee you, if they're not one of those, they're not on my show. Because I don't have time. I'll talk to a politician, but I'm going to be rough on them. If you listen to some of my conversations actually with Conover, I was pretty, and if you listen to my show, I was pretty critical of Cruz. And Conover's actually going to ask Cruz my questions. We'll get the answers. So, that's what it takes. Now, as we go off to the break, we are going to come back. And then we'll just kind of wrap this show up so that we can spend the time with our family members, our loved ones. Of course, we'll do a little Paul Harvey here at the end of the show for Friday as we carry in, and then we'll just kind of close it down. But wow, what a great show. What an outstanding show. Just incredible. I can tell you, I am so happy. We've done so much in so little time. And that just goes to show you that obviously we have someone much bigger than any government will ever be watching our back here at the Midnight Patriot, guiding us, helping us get this message out to you, our listeners, our fellow patriots.
I'm Eric Kipple, 10-year veteran of the NFL.
And I'm Captain Mark McNeil, 16-year veteran of the Army National Guard. Whether on the playing field or the battlefield, you must be both physically and mentally fit.
If you're injured, you owe it to yourself and your teammates to get back to peak performance. doesn't matter if you've got a broken bone, depression, a traumatic brain injury, PTSD, or another psychological wound.
Getting help shows strength, not weakness.
To find out more, go to realwarriors.net.
After Daniel Pearl was kidnapped and murdered in Pakistan, his family and friends came together to work towards a more humane world.
On Daniel Pearl Music Day, thousands of people around the world will unite to promote harmony for humanity.
Join us in using the universal language of music
to diminish hatred,
respect differences,
and reach out in friendship.
Participate in Daniel Pearl Music Day, promoting harmony.
America, welcome home the brave. The brave men and women who serve their country are coming home. Home to their cities and towns. Home to their mountains and valleys. Home to their families and friends. Home to America. Some of these warriors are coming home with wounds you can see, and some with wounds you can't see, like post-traumatic stress disorder. Wounded Warrior Project was created to provide the support these wounded veterans need to ensure their return to America is well-adjusted and successful. But we need your help to ensure that our mission is a success. Help us honor and empower these wounded warriors. Contact us at findwwp.org. America, welcome home the brave.
In a moment, cancer changed our lives forever.
We were told nothing could be done to enjoy these final moments together.
But in that moment, when all seemed lost, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital gave us hope.
Because at this moment, St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is saving lives with pioneering research and care. We're changing the way the world treats childhood cancer by sharing our discoveries with doctors and scientists everywhere.
And we'll never have to pay St. Jude for anything, ever.
At this moment, she wants to be in her own bed.
I want to be back at school with my friends. I want to be outside playing.
Please take a moment and join St. Jude in finding cures and saving children.
All right, you're listening to the Midnight Patriot Radio Show and podcast, man. What an interview. Well, you know what? We're going to squeeze one more in. And this is a gentleman that I've been talking to all day today. And you know, like all good conversations here at the Midnight Patriot before we sign off for the night and for the weekend, they just always go too long. I always tell people when they call into the show or whatever, plan on spending an hour at least or 2 hours. Hey, Alex, are you there, buddy?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, Alex, sorry about that. I do apologize. I just, you know, we get that way. And you know, we got to get our new equipment in here, but God willing, you know, we'll get it when God wants us to have it, not when we want it. So eventually we'll get it in here. We'll be able to get more calls in at the same time. So how are you?
Not bad. I'm the founder of Justice Seekers America.
I know. I was looking at your videos and stuff. And tell our listeners a little bit about your organization.
World War II benefits for 3 Italian restaurants. My dad had after 4.
Sure.
Even my grandchildren got ripped off.
Okay. So you know, the other thing too, I saw that you had a little, you know, this is one thing we talk about. You know, we use Facebook to communicate, but the problem is that if Facebook, I know that you had a little issue with Facebook about them not liking. You want to tell our audience about it? Because I warn our audience about, I use Facebook, but we've got to start communicating other ways, because when Facebook, if you do or say something that Facebook doesn't like, they will turn you off. Alex, you're a great example. Can you tell our listeners what happened?
Yeah, during the elections, they blocked us out and many other patriots.
Sure. And what did they do? Did they just like turn off your account? Did they give you a reason?
Oh, they said I was harassing people with the truth. Come on.
Yeah, that's the problem. Anytime you speak outside of what the media wants you to say or whatever, they
exactly
that's and this is a good point. That's why one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on and stuff is
okay. Do you want me to call back then?
No, you're on right now. So
okay.
Yeah, no, you're on the air. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's an honor, brother.
You're on the air. I should let you know. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I wanted people to understand, because this is something that I'm preaching about, and I'm actually looking at alternative sources of communication outside of Facebook, like there's some new technology that's coming out, and I'll start talking about it, but it's a way that we can build a community using the internet. But the nice thing is that the servers don't actually sit at a central location. They actually sit on everybody's computer. So when we control that, not Facebook, they can't control, our speech and go and flip a switch. As long as there's an internet, we can do that. Now, when the internet goes away, and if they flip that, then of course we can go to old packet technology, on ham radio kind of stuff. So we are putting together a way of communicating outside of Facebook. But
I'm working with some very special people too.
Yeah. So it's important that people understand you actually had your Facebook account turned off because they didn't like your speech.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, so there you go.
And I can tell you that.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I can tell you the best man for this country is John Dumett, D-U-M-M-E-T-T. He's a constitutionalist and a historian like me.
Now, does he have a website, or can we link to him through Facebook or through? Okay.
Yes. He's on Facebook, and he has his presidential vote for John Dumett on there. He was blocked out. He was threatened by Islam and the U.S. government.
Sure. Now, when you say is threatened by Islam, obviously I can pretty much figure out what his position is, but what cause?
Yeah, people can go online and find 30 terrorist training camps in America and FEMA concentration camps with plastic coffins, Morgellons disease, barium, aluminum oxide, and crocodile, which will rot your flesh and your bones. It's like heroin.
Yeah. Oh, well, no,
it's a Russian designer drug.
Actually, that's actually and so you guys know that's not conspiracy theory. This is something that's actually, I live right outside of Chicago, and it's an epidemic here in Chicago, and it literally you've got to see these. I'm going to warn our audience out there, these are not pictures that you want to look at for too long if you're sensitive to that kind of information. But these are not tricks.
Yeah, we're both martial artists too.
Yeah. So there you go. So
swordsmen, archers, and marksmen.
Gotcha. So, a fellow patriot, like I said, this is all about community, giving people a voice, allowing them to speak. We don't censor people here. We just, we ask, that we keep it because of the radio. But, if you got something to say, we'll allow you to say it here. Everybody's got a voice in this fight, and everything. So, but Alex, I am so sorry. We'll get you on for a longer segment.
Okay.
Sometime next week, or but I'll reach out to you through Facebook and stuff, because I want to hear how you were able to get back online and the whole story and the things that are going on there, and also learn about a little bit more about your organization and what you guys are doing, and also your candidate.
We are here to reestablish justice, the first founding principle of the United States Constitution in the preamble.
Absolutely. So there you go. All right. So you can actually reach Alex through our website at www.themidnightpatriot.com. He's a friend of ours. It's Alex Como Sr., C-O-M-O Sr. Is his Facebook. So you can actually, reach him and get to him and find out what his organization is about. But, that's what it's about here. I can't stress that. That was just, to have that conversation and everything was just, that's what we're about, getting the word out there, communicating with our fellow patriots. So I hope you guys have great plans with your family this weekend. Like I said, get involved with your local organizations, your churches, all of those things this weekend. Take the time. If there's a family member you haven't talked to in a while, give them a call. Give them a call, because we need to start banding together. One of the things that we were talking about the other day with Major Pandemic, and we're going to show you these sites. It was actually disturbing when I first saw it today, And I do apologize for not having this site in front of me. We are putting in some prompting screens and some technology over the weekend. Once again, we're going to be upgrading again this weekend the studio so we can stay on top of that. But you can actually go out on the web. There's a National Geographic. You can probably Google it and find it. It's a site that you can go to that will show you nuclear events in the United States, or for the world for that matter. They have sensors throughout the world and everything. And one of the things that I saw is that they had what they call an A-level event. They had two of them, one in Michigan, one here, actually pretty close to me, where apparently the readings, now we have nuclear power plants all over, and so these are the monitors that are monitoring them. So you can Google that. I wish I had it for you. We'll be on top of that a little bit better next week with some of our new screens that we're going to be putting in the studio. But that goes to what we were talking about the other day with Prepper Recon. It's not something that you're necessarily going to get a warning all of a sudden. It could just happen. You talk about global events. We have solar flares. We had 28 solar flares. Even NASA is saying that's unusual. A solar flare can disrupt our communications within seconds. So you need to kind of prepare for that. And you need to, get ready for that. So as we wind down tonight, I just want to stress to you, you need to, get with your family, get with your loved ones. You need to let them know that you're there. I mean, spend time with your family. Start there. Let's start there. That's how we're going to rebuild this country. We're going to spend time with our family. And then, we'll worry about the community. But heal your family first. I know I am. I'm going to take my own advice this weekend. I'll let you know how it goes on Monday. So like always, at the end of the week, I just want to let you know that you're in my prayers. All my fellow patriots, all my fellow citizens, you're in my prayers. May God bless you. May He also keep you safe, keep your family safe. And we always end our show with Paul Harvey for the week.
If I were the devil, if I were the prince of darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population, but I wouldn't be happy until I had seized the ripest apple on the tree. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States. I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers. With the wisdom of a serpent, I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good and what's good is square. And the old I would teach to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors in how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies and vice versa. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills. If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerizing media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellects, but neglect to discipline emotions. Just let those run wild. Until before you knew it, you'd have to have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing. I'd have judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse, then from the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress. And in his own churches I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I would lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money. If I were the devil, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle. If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who wanted until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what'll you bet? I couldn't get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against extremes in hard work, in patriotism, in moral conduct. I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on TV is the way to be. And thus I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what he's doing.
Paul Harvey. Good day.
My country through